What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and before we get into our overview of NCAA Football 09, we need to talk about why I am officially done with NCAA Football 07. And the biggest reason is turnovers, especially fumbles. I've played about 10 games so far. You've seen 7. I've done a few the last day or so just on my end, and I'm seeing just way too many turnovers and fumbles. It's getting a bit ridiculous. And we can look at some game stats. Out of the 7 games that I recorded, there's only 4 of them where I actually showed all the game stats. And this was one of them. I think this was the very first game of the series. And there were 7 turnovers, 3 fumbles, 5 interceptions. It's just a lot of turnover issues right there. That's just one game. No big deal. Let's keep going. Then I think this was game 3, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe game 4. Only 2 turnovers, but there were 4 fumbles. 1 interception. Again, fumbles are just a big concern for me. Then we have this game. This was actually the low end. There were 2 turnovers and only 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions. This is the lowest I've seen. I haven't played one game yet where there wasn't at least 2 fumbles. Then we have another game here. This was the last one we played. Only 2 fumbles. We had some interceptions, but there was 5 turnovers altogether. I'm not so worried about the interceptions. I mean, if you play like you're supposed to, don't throw in the double coverage. It's not that big of a deal. The only issue I'm seeing with the interceptions in 07 is the Superman jump catches by linebackers and such. It's a little bit, a little bit ridiculous, but it's nowhere near as bad as the fumble issue. Now, me and a couple of buddies, we've been trying to collect more data on all 3 of our ends and seeing if everybody else has the same issues on Heisman, on All-American, and all that good stuff. And we're coming across the same issues. We have games that have 4, 5, 6, 7. We even had one game that had 8 fumbles. Just think about that. 8 fumbles in one game. That's just ridiculous. I can't play this game because of this. It's just for me, it's just too hard. I mean, all the bells and whistles that come with those 7, all the playbook stuff is excellent. The new additions to Dynasty, that's great. But none of that matters if the gameplay is game-breaking in one way or another. And for me, it is fumbles. Now, we can look at some national stats here. Last year, Nebraska was the worst in terms of fumbles per game. They had over 2 a game. Okay? If you look at the average, each team, on average, averaged a little over 1 fumble a game. Now, that seems pretty normal. The problem is, this is the bare minimum I'm seeing in 07. Again, hopefully I've made my point clear. Fumbles is just a big deal in this game. It's an issue, and there's no simple slider to fix it. Heck, there's an interception slider in 07. We got that thing cranked down all the way to 0, and we're still seeing picks and whatnot. So, I don't know if a fumble slider would have helped or not. The biggest thing you got to remember is turnovers is the most important stat in football. Yes, it happens on both ends, but the problem is there's too many turnovers. I mean, it's just so many momentum changes in a game that I think it affects the game in a bad way. Okay, before I give up on 07 altogether, I'm still going to finish the team playbooks for 07 and going to put them on the site. As of today, I'm all the way down to Syracuse. I have just maybe 8 to 9 more playbooks to go to capture. Once I capture all those, I'm going to finish the rest of the team playbooks. For anybody who still wants to play 07, they will be on the site for you, hopefully within a week. Okay? Now, going forward, here's my plan. I'm going to go through the other games and try to find game-breaking issues. Instead of trying to find 9 really cool little features and 9 really small bad features, let's find the one big issue that makes or breaks a game, at least to me. Again, everybody's different in what they like and what they don't like. Maybe all this turnover junk doesn't mean much to you. To me, it's a big deal. Okay? So naturally, we're going to start going with 08, 09, 10, and 11. But let's talk about 08. 08 has one humongous issue, and that is the pursuit angles. If anybody's ever played 08, it is terrible. It is a game breaker. It saddens me, and I don't think I'll ever play it again. I actually picked it up some this morning, played for about an hour, and the safeties, bless their hearts, it's terrible. I mean, they just go right towards the halfback. They don't even think about making a correct pursuit angle, and you could get touchdowns left and right. It's unfortunate, but that's what it's known for. It is there, and that was even on Heisman. I even cranked up the defensive CPU awareness to 99, and it didn't make a difference. So that's why most people don't play 08. The pursuit angles just ruin the game, at least for me. Okay? So with that being said, what about 09? Are there bad pursuit angles in it? Is there a game breaker that we need to worry about? With all that being said, now let's talk about our overview of NCAA Football 09. I want to cover some highlights with this thing, and hopefully we'll shed some light on some cool new things they added. Ultimately, though, gameplay is all that matters, and after this video, I'll go into an exhibition game with 09, and we'll test a bunch of different things, and hopefully we won't find anything too game-breaking, okay? Out of the gate, this is the main menu. You got Play Now, you got Family Play, that's brand new, that's for people who don't know what they're doing. Mascot Challenge, that's sort of like playing your drills. I play with it a little bit. I'm a Dynasty guy. To me, that's all I care about. You got game modes, features, My NCAA, and EA Sports Extras. Let's start off with game features, so we can get these out of the way. Let's start off with playbooks and audibles. This is my favorite thing to talk about. Now, it's no different than in 07. You have 12 formations per playbook that you can edit, you can customize, you can switch around. But technically, you have more than that. As you see here, I got the Virginia Tech playbook, and the last formation, according to this screen, is gun wide trips halfback week. Well, if you go to the audibles, that changes a little bit. Again, remember, gun wide trips halfback week is supposedly your top or your last formation. But if you go down here to gun wide trips halfback week, bada boom, you got gun double flex. In 09, this is either a glitch or they've done this on purpose. I don't know. But technically, each playbook has 13 formations, not 12, but 13. You cannot change this formation. If I'm going to create a playbook and I pick whatever default playbook I go with and I start switching stuff out, that 13 formation is there forever. To me, that's not a problem. You just got more plays to play with, but you just have to be aware of what 13th formation that is before you start going forward. Again, it may not matter to you, but I just wanted to point that out. Now, speaking of this, I don't know if I'm going to wait and start posting playbook stuff on the website until, obviously, I'm done with 07. I got to get those playbooks done first. And then, after a bunch of games, exhibition games with this game, if I'm not finding anything game-breaking, then I'll probably start working on playbook stuff for here. Now, what we can do is go, and I'll show you a couple different things. I'll tell you what. We'll go into practice mode, and I'll show you some of the other cool stuff with that. Some of the new play and stuff they added to it. Okay, the rest of the game features, create a school, player sign, whatever. I haven't seen anything new in terms of the rosters, the way it's set up. It's all there. I mean, nothing really anything new about this compared to any of the previous games. FCS roster, I did notice this. The file that I'm using now is new compared to the 07 and 06 version. The only way I know this is when you go to the Furman. I just know their roster a little bit. Their top player or their top quarterback is this Ryan Brown kid. In 07, it was a different player. So somebody at least updated it. Whoever updated this roster at least updated it for this one. I was a little worried that they was going to get lazy again and just stick with the 07 or technically 06 rosters. But they have updated the FCS, if that is your thing, which is pretty cool. And to go along with that, let me see if I can find it here. Like, good example, let's go to Furman. You got a little bit better rosters in the FCS. Now, again, this may be a custom-built roster file from somebody who just put a lot of time into this. If so, that's really cool. Again, this file is on the website if you want to know how to access all that stuff. But as you can tell, just out of Furman alone, they got at least a decent amount of players to start with. So you may have a little motivation now to start with an FCS school and move them up. You got a little bit of players to play with a little bit compared to just having everybody in the 60s and 70s. So pretty cool there. One thing I did wanted to show you, and we'll cover this a little bit more in the Dynasty stuff, but you can manage your jersey numbers outside of Dynasty mode, which is pretty cool. You can assign this guy a number, and he goes over here. So if I gave him number 1, I'll just select him and put him back over there. Again, pretty cool if that is your thing. Okay, let's go into Dynasty mode and talk a little bit about that. But first, you got Campus Legend. I don't know if there's any changes to this compared to 07. And again, I'm a Dynasty guy. That's what I like to do. Points Pursuit, that is like playing an exhibition game, but all you care about is stats. It's stat-driven in terms of how you score points. Rivalry Game, this is a neat little addition. Now, this might have been in 08 or it might have been in 07, but I like the way they have this set up. I don't know if I'll ever use it, but it tells me what my rivals are for every single team in the game. Here, I got Florida, Alabama, Kentucky, Vanderbilt are all rivals to Tennessee. That's actually pretty useful information. And you can go through every single one of these, even the FCS teams. Here's Stephen F. Austin, Sam Houston State, Northwestern State, are its two rivals for it. Again, pretty useful information, but if you want to just play a rivalry game, this is the quickest way to do that instead of you having to shuffle and try to search for the rivals in basic play now mode. Mascot mashup, that's a waste of my time. I'm sure it is for you. Scrimmage, I'm pretty sure that's the same as what it's been since 07. Practice, this is the second most important game mode in the game. Spring drills, we'll talk about this. Spring drills is no different than in 06 and 07, but they have been introduced to Dynasty mode. So let's talk about Dynasty mode for a little bit. I'm not going to get into the heavy details, but I want to hit a couple highlights. Because, again, none of this matters if the gameplay is bad, at least for me. So, let's go ahead and look at the first beginnings of a dynasty. We'll just go with Tennessee. I'm not even going to change the coaching information. None of that has changed. The way 09 has it set up is you have a preseason schedule, which sounds similar, but they've changed some things up, which is maybe for the best. We'll look here. Okay, out of the gate, you have a preseason schedule. No different than 06 and 07, but you got some new things you can start off with. Step one is your signed jersey numbers. You can go here, and like we just showed earlier, we can change jersey numbers around if needed. Pretty cool. We can go here, and we'll just go ahead and let's simulate that. Next up, these are your spring drills. Now, the reason why they're here is because you can actually use these to boost ratings of each individual player, depending on who you pick. And they got every one of them in here. They got offensive and defensive versions of some of them. Like here's the offensive version of rushing attack. Same with pass skeleton. Then you got option attack. Oklahoma, 40-yard dash, very important. Pocket presence. Then you got passing distance. Then you got wide receiver / running back catching. Then you got the defensive, rush the QB. You got kick return, you got punt return, you got route running, you got defensive back cover, you got chase and tackle, you got defending the option, you got defensive version of Oklahoma where you're playing the defensive player. Same with pass skeleton, and so on and so forth. Really cool. So what we could do here, let's just pick one, and I'll show you what I'm talking about and what you could do with these. I can see myself, when I do a dynasty with 09, what I'll probably do is do one whole episode of just preseason. No different than what I was doing before, but as you can tell, there's a whole lot more to preseason. So let's go to, like, passing distance. Well, let's select Jonathan Crompton. And let's do the passing distance drill with him. You get 5 reps, and you're trying to throw it as far as you can. And as good as you can do, you use those points later on. Here's another cool little addition. You can do in-game snapshots. You go to instant replay. You hit L3 and you can get that perfect snapshot. I don't know how much space it takes up on a memory card, but it is what it is, and it's pretty cool if you like to do that. I think that may be useful for me like on Instagram or something. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, the passing distance is pretty simple. I'm sure some of you have used this before, but we can go through it. I'm just tapping the X as hard as I can, quick as I can. I'm getting to the line. I'm throwing as far as I can. And you just do this 5 times over, and we'll go through every single one. Go as far as I can. We'll go this way, and this may go out of bounds. I may not even get points for it. I get some points for it. We'll go here, and I didn't even get to the line, so that's not a very good throw. But what I wanted to show you is the end result of this. Go here. That's not a bad throw. We can do it one more time. And last rep, we'll get to the line if we can. I may have went over the line. I may have got right on it. It might have been a perfect throw. Let's see. Not bad. Okay, that's the end of the drill. So depending on how well you do in that drill, QB avoiding stick, we'll talk about that a little bit. That's just another little small feature. I think it's the right joystick. Okay, I finished the drill, and you see at the very bottom it says total number of bonus points. So I can add those 5 points to either throw power or strength, or both. As you can see here, I currently have an 85 overall rating with a 93 throw power. I can add all 5 of these points, the throw power, and what does it do? It boosts me up to 88. That's pretty cool. So you can do that for every single drill. As you can tell, there's a bunch of drills, so it may take you a long time to get through. It may probably take you 40 minutes or so. But either way, that's an awesome little feature. Now, I've been told in the past that this can be a little overpowering, but it's whatever. I mean, it's up to you if you think that's a little too much. You can skip it if you don't want to use it. At least it gives you the option to skip it if you feel like it's too much. But try it. You may like it, and especially if some drills you're just not very good at, it's not going to hurt. Help your players out if you can. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's just advance to the rest of them. Next up is redshirt players. They've added it to your preseason schedule. You just can't decide when you want to do it. You kind of have to do it right here. But it's no different. You just redshirt it. It's your typical redshirting section. So now let's go on to the next. Here, custom schedule, it looks no different than 07 in terms of you only have like 14 weeks to bother with instead of 16. So they took off one. And you have a 12-game schedule, which is pretty good. Like if I select like Northern Illinois, I'm sure it just gives you the basic list. So typical custom schedule stuff. But now you got a 12-game schedule, which is good. Next up should be preseason recruiting. Now, there's a couple things I want to highlight here. The biggest addition is you get 3 extra scholarships. In the past, you had 12. Now you have 15, which is pretty cool. The next big addition to preseason recruiting is that in the past, you could only recruit 3, 4, and 5-star players. Now you could go 1 through 5. Perfect example. Let's go to the quarterbacks. Here at the very top, Arthur Bass, whatever you want to call him, is a 5-star kid. But if you keep scrolling down, as you can see, you got a lot of quarterbacks to go through. And you go to some 2-star players. Again, pretty cool. This is actually good for those who start out with an FCS school and don't feel bad about wanting to or forcing to recruit a 3, 4, or 5-star player. Makes a whole lot of sense. If you feel like you want to keep it super realistic, you got a 1-star school and a crappy conference, recruit your 2 and 1-star kids if they fit what you're trying to do there. So just something to think about. So you got 2 stars and here's a 1-star kid. So again, the 2 biggest additions I see in preseason recruiting is you get 3 extra scholarships on top of you get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5-star players to recruit from. All right, pretty cool. Just wanted to get through all that. Just wanted to show you that part. Pretty neat. Again, doesn't matter if the gameplay sucks, but we'll get through all that in the extra videos. Okay, now you're into your basic play week stuff. You go to play week, it's your typical thing. You just go to your next game. Go to coach's desk. A lot of interesting things are here. Here's where you do your recruiting. Now, I have it set up to where it picked 15 players for me. But again, you got your 100 hours to play with, so you gotta have to be extra more careful since you got 12 or 15 guys you're going after with instead of 12. Now you go to prospect information. I'm not seeing anything new here except it's cool. It gives you his high school stats. I don't think that means a whole lot to me. I don't think it will. But either way, that's a pretty neat little addition. But everything else seems pretty normal to me. Okay, let's go to. Let's just exit out of that. Game prep is pretty neat. It's like your practice like 07 had, except you can change crowd volume. If the next game coming up, you're playing in the swamp, and you want to go up against a tough crowd, you want to simulate that environment, you could boost up crowd volume. That'll affect your audibles and such like that. You can set all that up. And Game Prep Notebook is just a summary of what you've been doing in practice. I don't know how effective that'll be, but it's there. Player promises, this is an interesting thing. This is when you get down to the nitty-gritty. You're down to the final 3 with 2 other teams going after a player. And if you want to promise him a jersey number, promise him the start, whatever, you could do that here. Really cool. We could cover that if I ever get into Dynasty. But it's a neat little feature. It's another dynamic to Dynasty mode. Everything else seems pretty normal. You still got your program standards. You still got to go through all of that. That's normal. Hopefully there's no big glitches with it. Playbooks and audibles, that's all the same. Coaching options, I don't think there's anything new here. There's one thing I do want to try, just to see. I didn't know if there's anything new here, and I'm not seeing it. Let's go to defensive strategy. You still got your typical ones. Okay, nothing's changed there. Not a big deal. I just wanted to show you a few little things from Dynasty Mode there. Again, really cool additions. I'm sure there's a few other things in the off-season recruiting and stuff. I'm sure there may be a couple new things that may be worth looking at there, but we can look at that later on. Okay, let's just get out of here and let's go into practice mode. I want to show you a couple things there, like some new plays and such. I'm going to try to show you that the pursuit angle thing was fixed in 09. On top of, that may be it. Let's just go into practice mode. And for simplicity's sake, hopefully I can pull this off. Let's go up against like Ohio, and it will be Tennessee. We can select the stadium. I can't tell the graphics are any better or worse than like 07, 08. I don't know. I mean, they look fine. I mean, graphics aren't a big deal to me. But we can go here. We'll use the Georgia Tech or the Virginia Tech playbook. That's fine. We can talk about a couple of game aspects. They got some new defensive hot routes, as you see there. They got a highlight stick, QB avoidance, wide receiver direct. That's a way you can redirect your receiver to go to a particular spot before you throw to them on the fly. Running back combos. They got extra hot routes apparently. Coach cam matchup visuals, bluff the play art if you're going up against another player. A bunch of neat little smaller things. Okay. Let's talk about probably the biggest addition to the playbooks is pre-snap motion. Stuff like this. Anytime you see a green route, that is a pre-snap motion, which means as soon as you snap the ball, that particular player will go in motion, and once he gets to a certain spot, he will do his thing, and the ball will snap, and the play will commence. So, for example, wide receiver quick, you got a little play series here. You got, it's a wide receiver sweep. You got a fake. You got the real thing, and you got to play action off of that, which is pretty cool. So let's go up against a cover 2 man. Let's see. These plays work pretty well now. I may botch it here for a couple plays, but we can try it. Then go over here, cut up field, pick up a few yards there. Again, I'm snapping the ball. He's coming in motion, and then it snaps, and you cut up, and you do your thing. Really cool. So what this means is this opens up a whole lot of new things offensively. You can start running some Matt Canada stuff, a lot of the pre-snap motion from the under-sitter sets. If I'm not mistaken, we can go gun wide trips, halfback weak. You got pre-snap motion, like with motion wide receiver option. You snap the ball, the receiver comes in motion. We can try it here. I don't have a quarterback that can run it, but we'll try it. Let's go here. Again, we're on the right hash, snapping it. Go right here. Didn't get a whole lot out of it, but you saw him run in motion. Again, really cool stuff. What's going to be effective here is, I can show you that. We'll show you that here in a minute. I should have picked Navy instead. But I'm pretty sure in the Flexbone playbooks, the pre-snap motion is there, which is the big thing. We'll cover that here in a little bit. I wanted to show you that here, might as well. Again, you got like halfback ISO. You got your X receiver motioning, and then he cuts up the block or do whatever. It's all over these playbooks. You name it, it's in there. Just depending. Here's another version. Here's PA smash. Your X receiver goes in a little bit, then he goes with a zig out. Here's what I wanted to show you, the pursuit angle thing. Hopefully I don't botch this, but we're going to try it. Let's go up against, let's go cover 1. Let's go down to the 20-yard line. Here's the way I test pursuit angles in 08. What I do is I use para option. I'll go up against a cover 1 man and see what the safeties do with this. Let's try it, and that's just a fumble. That's not a good one. Let's try it again. That's the first time I've seen that happen. There we go. That's a little bit better. Hopefully the pursuit angle isn't terrible. I think the guy was fixing to come, but it didn't work. But we got a touchdown here. Let's see what happens. Let's go here, back out. Let's see what those corners were doing. See that corner right there? Good pursuit angle right here. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's trying to go after him. That does not happen in 08. In 08, he would go straight to the sideline. Thankfully, he gets blocked right there, and you can go for 6 points. But that's a pretty decent example of that. But I just wanted to show you and just confirm that pursuit angles is not a big issue in 09 compared to 08. Pretty good defensive pursuit right there. Okay, let's quickly go to the Navy playbook. I just want to see if they've done that. I'm pretty sure they did. It's been a while since I've looked at it. Let's go here. And again, the pre-snap motion is the big new addition I've seen to 09. So we're going to go to game modes. We're going to go to practice mode. We're going to go here. Let's select Navy. And we'll just go here. And let's select our playbook. Go Navy. We'll go here. And you got to remember with the Flexbone triple option, you got pre-snap motion in real life. But we've never seen it in these games before, at least in the older ones. But it is confirmed. It probably was in 08. 08 may have had the pre-snap motion. I didn't look that far into it because the pursuit angles was so bad. But I just wanted to show here that they are in there. And I hope they are. I'm pretty sure they are. And if they are, then you could go nuts with triple option. There you go. Pre-snap triple option counter right there. That's the way it's supposed to look. That way you don't ever have to manually do it again. So, for example, we'll just go up against something here. And I'm not going to do any reading or anything, but that's awesome that you can do that now. Just a terrible play there, but still, you can look here, pre-snap. He does it automatically. That saves all of us Flexbone guys so much time, you don't have to bother manually moving the pitch man. Now, I probably should have cut up field right there with the B-back, but I just wanted to prove my point on the motion stuff. Really cool. So you can look through here through Flexbone normal. You got triple option pass, triple option reverse. Again, every single one has a pre-snap motion. You got fullback trap, corners, triple option. Fullback dive even has it. Wingback around has it. You got a play action here. Triple option strong. That's a brand new play actually. I wonder what's the difference between that and the other version. Speed sweep. It's got a pre-snap. That's awesome. And it's got a play or a pass off of it with a QB screen off of that. So that's a little series there. Really cool stuff. And, oh, they got over. They got twins over. I didn't know that. Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. Really cool. They added that. Look at all this pre-snap motion, though. That's what it's supposed to do. Now, here's interesting. What's that one mean? I don't know what that means. Why is that one? Oh, triple motion option pass 1. That's the name of that play. They just didn't have enough room to put it there. Interesting. Okay, you got the power O. That's a famous concept now. You got the pull and guard. All that pre-snap stuff looks really cool. Let's keep going. I'm just curious. Flexbone wing is a new formation. Wing twins. Wide, wing trips, tight, slot, trips. Really cool stuff. So I just wanted to bring that across. Okay, that is it. I'm pretty sure anything else I'm going to show you will be in an exhibition game. Hopefully, going forward, the next exhibition game will probably be 2 videos from now. I got to get back to my Mississippi State Dynasty. We got the bowl game to do it. Then after that, I'll probably get into my first exhibition game with 09. Again, hopefully the first part of this video made a lot of sense as to why I'm moving on from 07. The fumbles, the turnovers, it's just too much for me. I can't work around it. It just makes the game too unfun for me, too unrealistic. And I have played one full game of 09. I've done it this morning. Nowhere near as many fumbles. Let's put it that way. So hopefully we don't see that big of an issue with it. We don't know until we keep playing more games. So come on back. Again, the next video will be the Mississippi State Dynasty. Then after that, we'll get into our first exhibition game of 09. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.